we got to understand the distinction between recognition and appreciation. They're related, but they're not the same thing, and we get them confused all the time. Recognition, here's what recognition is. It's positive feedback based on results or performance. You produce a result, you get recognized. Now, not all the time, and it's motivating. It feels good, right? When you work hard, you do something well, someone recognizes it, it feels good. As Tom Peters says, celebrate what you want to see more of. Absolutely. However, recognition is finite, it's scarce, it's only based on our performance, and usually in an organizational structure or in others, it's got to come from the top down for it to really have weight and merit. Therefore, it has a lot of limits. Appreciation, on the other hand, much more expansive. It's more about people, less about what they do, more about who they are. The best way I know to describe this distinction is an example from my baseball career. So, now whether you're a baseball fan or not, I was a pitcher. Do you know what happens to the pitcher in the baseball game when the pitcher doesn't do well? You know what happens? Yeah, they stop the game. Right? And in front of everybody, the manager walks out to the mound and literally takes the ball out of your hand and makes you leave. It's pretty embarrassing. Can you imagine? Imagine you're at work and you're like in the middle of a big project and you're doing something and you make a mistake, like a big one. You know, it blows the deal, it costs something big. And then right as soon as you hit the email that makes the big mistake or whatever, your boss bursts in and goes, "Hey, you, come over here." And you have to stop what you're doing and pick up your stuff and walk out. And then someone else comes in and sits down at your desk and starts doing your work for you. And oh, by the way, thousands of people are watching this happen. You imagine that'd be kind of embarrassing, right? That's what it's like to get taken out of a game. Now, if it's like late in the game, you know, it's like the 8th inning and I was just getting tired, that was fine. Because he'd come out, hey, you know, Robbins, you did a good job, but you're getting a little tired, we're going to get someone in to replace you. I'd come off the mound, you know, high fives from all my teammates because I did a good job. But if it was like the 2nd inning and it was already 7-0, that was terrible. Right? Because I'd walk off the mound upset, embarrassed, frustrated. And if we were on the road, you know, in the other team's ballpark, it was always worse. Because there'd be some mean, heckling fans right above the dugout saying horrible things, you know, about my mother, right? Literally. And I would sit in the dugout and nobody would talk to me. Right? Watch a baseball game. Again, even if you don't like baseball, just turn a baseball game on, watch what happens when the pitcher comes out of the game. There's like an unwritten rule. Oh, leave him alone, he's upset. You know what I could have used when I was sitting on the bench after just giving up 7 runs in the 2nd inning? What do you think? A hug. Some appreciation. Now, not recognition. What are they going to say? Hey, Robbins, way to go. Great job, man. 7 runs in the 2nd inning. Woo! No, that would be disingenuous. That would be inauthentic. In fact, that'd be condescending. There's nothing to recognize about the performance. And not only did I fail, personally, I failed for the team. We're probably going to lose. So look, our performance matters. What we do or don't do absolutely matters. However, as a living, breathing, often insecure, although I pretended not to be in those days especially, human being, I could have used some appreciation, not for what I had done, but for who I am. Like, hey, Robbins, you're not as bad as you just performed. Or, hey, man, you know what? You're an important part of the team. Or even just ask me, how you doing? All those years playing baseball, I can count on one hand the number of times anyone ever said anything meaningful or positive to me when I failed. So when we expand our capacity for what we think of when we think of appreciation. It's not just about recognizing results and performance, it's about appreciating people. You know, I spoke at a conference in Silicon Valley, a leadership conference about 1.5 years ago, and the speaker before me was a professor from UC Berkeley. And he was sharing some interesting research that they'd been doing at Haas Business School, which is at Berkeley. And one of the studies he put up on his slide talked about what motivates productivity in people. And what they found in the study was that when people felt recognized for the work they did, they were 23% more effective and productive than when people didn't. Made sense. But the same study found that when people felt valued and cared for, a literal or figurative pat on the back, that the people around them, particularly the person they report to, really cared about them, they were 43% more effective and productive than people who didn't. There was a 20% increase in productivity from focusing on who people are, not just what they do. That's the distinction. And people who understand this, both in business and in our lives personally, we start to have the ability to appreciate people and have it not be so conditional, and have it start being more meaningful and impactful. And that's often what it is. It's something simple. It's something personal. It's not some big deal. It's something that means something to us. That's how powerful it is. Whether we do it in a big dramatic way or we do it in a simple day-to-day way, when we take the time, when we're willing to look for and find the things we appreciate about the people around us and let them know. It's one of the greatest gifts we can give to them, and it's a gift for us as well. That's the power of appreciation.